welcome to this edition of ET Now Hangouts. Well, it turns out that it's a good time to be an influencer in India. Well, according to a report by EY titled State of Influencer Marketing in India, influencer marketing is expected to grow by 25% in 2024, reaching 2,344 crore rupees. The space is also estimated to reach 3,000 crores by 2026 at a CAGR of 18%. Well, to understand and navigate through this cluttered space of influencer marketing, I'm in conversation with Vijay Subramaniam, who is the founder and group CEO of Collective Artist Network that manages some of the country's biggest stars and is now focusing immensely on the scalable creators economy in a big way with the Big Bang. Hi Vijay, welcome to ET Now Hangouts. It's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Vijay, I want to start from the beginning, your journey. You're an army kid, I believe.
Yes, I am an army kid.
So from one army kid to another one.
Oh, you're an army kid?
Yes, I am.
Awesome.
So from one army kid to another one, how has your life changed? How did you begin actually, from a sheltered life, an army life, to this big, bad, competitive world of Bollywood where you're managing the biggest stars, perhaps?
Oh, well, firstly, I think I think army life is not really sheltered. For those who've grown up in the army, you know that it is unsettling because
you're moving around a lot.
Yeah, you move around a lot, and the first principles of the army was always to build community and a sense of belonging for people in that community, and I think that's been my default mode of operation in building this.
Right. Speaking of community, one of the biggest and booming community right now, it's the influencers community, the creators economy, and you're focusing it on in a big way with Big Bang Social. Tell us about that.
Yeah, not just Big Bang Social. I think we have two really strong creator communities. One is Big Bang Social, which is a really, really strong influencer play, and the other is Under 25, which is the student creator community. I think both of these put together really have a very, very strong outcome when it comes to powering people to create jobs and to create economic opportunities for them by making content, right? We've empowered more than 100,000 jobs in the last 1 year.
All these are content creators?
All content creators at a micro nano transactional level. So I'm not talking about the bigger creators or the celebrities, but at the base of it, we've powered more than 100,000 jobs.
Sorry to interject, but when you talk about micro-influencers, what are the number of followers that a person would have?
I mean, it's more transaction value, really. These could be, barter deals to, in the case of our student platform, we have creators earning as little as 50 rupees, right?
Oh, okay.
So if you actually go to the Under 25 platform, you'll see that right now. Right. And then, you have creators at 1,000 rupees, or so when you say micro nano, it's actually really small cohorts of people who have really strong connect with their audience. It could be 1,000 followers, it could be 2,000 followers,
right,
going all the way up to, of course, who exactly the kind of talent Collective represents. So the idea really was to build a reliance for creators, right, where it's the entire ecosystem in one. And I'm glad that we're on that journey. I'm glad that we're building it in the robust way that we are.
Right. So Vijay, let's set the record straight. There is a difference between a creator and an influencer. Firstly, what is the difference, and what's the scope for growth for the creators economy versus influencer marketing?
I mean, the creator economy, influencer marketing is a part of the creator economy, right? Media kind of misreports it as creator economy equal to influencer marketing. It's a vertical within the creator economy. This question gets asked to me a lot. What's the difference between a creator and an influencer? Right? I think everyone is creators. I think all of us create content on social media. I think all of us, because if you're on a social media platform making content, you're creating content. Right? Yeah. But it's when that tips over to actually meaningful monetization opportunities that you really become an influencer, right? Because by definition, an influencer is somebody who's able to either influence an opinion or a purchase. Right. So when you move up that ladder to either impacting either an opinion or a purchase is when you really start influencing in its truest frame of mind. So I think for us, it's just about building that upward trajectory where you can climb.
So you're helping a creator become an influencer. Is that safe to say?
Yeah. I think we're still very way off. I think what we are trying to do at Collective is fine. is how do we use data and analytics and our intuitive ability of grooming talent. How do we find the next in big influencer? How do we give them more launch pads? And I think skilling is I've said this over and over again, I think skilling is very, very important. I think India is nowhere near the reported numbers of the real number of creators who make money. I mean, some people say there are 80 million creators, 90 million creators. There really aren't that many who actually make meaningful income from it and build a life on it. It's much, much lesser. So our job will be, as the internet becomes more penetrative, as you go deeper and wider, how is it that we can provide more creators to go up the ladder to actually make this a full-time job?
Right. And speaking of monetizing and speaking of the kind of money, there was a report recently by EY that said that, creators economy is going to touch 3,000 odd crores by 2026. And an influencer who's working less than 10 hours a week is making upwards of 10 lakh rupees. So firstly, tell us, on an average, how much does an influencer make? Is there a rate card? I mean, of course, it depends on the kind of followers you have. But on an average, if you had to put numbers, if you could give us an idea.
Well, we did that report with EY. Yeah. So we sponsored that report. We kind of did it together. So it is a collective and EY initiative. There's no real rate card. I think the numbers are big. I think 3,000 crores is big, but not big enough to actually host that many people.
Right.
I think that number starts making a lot more meaning when it goes to 7,000-8,000 crores, where that many more people can create the opportunities, which will happen, I'm pretty certain, just seeing the clip at which it's growing.
Yeah.
But I think an influencer today can make anywhere from 25 to 30,000 rupees going all the way to 25 to 30 crores. That's really the span of the creator
economy.
It's
a huge range.
Yeah, it's a huge range.
Right. So, during the lockdown, everybody was on their phones. Of course, they were cooped up in their houses. People were watching, consuming a lot of content, and the creators economy really boomed at that point. Now things have opened up, people are going about their lives. Also, you're not consuming content the way you were back in the day, right? Mm-hmm. So you're focusing on very focused content creators, or the content creators that you like. You're not watching everything under the sun. Do you really think that content creators economy has really peaked out?
No, yeah, it's not even started. I think we're too soon to say it's peaked out, because when you're driving, when you're in your late time today, the number of times you scroll through your social media feeds is probably more number of times than you used to in yesterday's switch channel. So it's nowhere near peaking. I would say we are in level 1 of the creator business. I think you still have a long way to go. I think this is a multi-billion-dollar business. I think this will mirror China's numbers in the next decade. And if you sort of reference it against that number, it's a drop in the ocean where we are at right now. So I'm convinced that we're just at level 1, because we still haven't unearthed talent from the hinterlands of tier 3 and tier 4 India as yet. It's still a very clear metro phenomenon, right? I think more and more you get deeper into the country, more and more you find talent, exactly like how, historically Saregama or Indian Idol used to, right? Where television used to unearth talent from nooks and corners of the country. I think that will happen with creators when that becomes easier. Also because it's cheaper. I mean, you don't need a train ticket. You need a phone, and you need an internet connection, which I think everyone will have in the next 3 years. And I think that's exactly where we are going with this, to find out how we can empower not just India, but also Bharat with the creator economy.
So Vijay, everyone is a creator. Whoever is creating online is a creator. Do you think, can everyone become an influencer? Or what is the secret sauce? Or any young person who's watching this show, we are a show for the young and the restless, anyone who's watching this show and wants to get their foot in the door, how do they go about doing it?
Again, very important question, one that I get asked a lot. I think the fundamental truth of why you should influence an opinion is trust.
Yeah.
So I keep telling most of the people that I work with, I keep telling my teams this: don't push just for the numbers, because billboard will get you reach, right? Outdoor hoarding will get you a reach. Why you're using the digital medium is actually to engage, right? So focus on the authenticity of your content, right? Focus on making your audience trust your content, right? And I think that's what makes you successful. It's not really just about how many millions of followers do you have. for sure, does that have an impact? The answer is 100% yes. But is that now the only impact? The answer is 100% no. Why do you have micro creators come on board? Why do you have communities that are building? Why do you have nano creators? It is purely coming from a very simple point of view that today it is establishing trust, which is really creating the kind of impact and depth in influencer marketing. Right. So I would tell everyone in the business, right, people who manage talent or talent themselves, focus on building authenticity in your content, for that to resonate with the audiences, for you either to get paid or watched.
Right. So, speaking of which, what are the brands really betting on? What are they ready to pay for? You're in the middle of the conversation. You have brands on one side, you have the influencer on the other side. You're talking to both the parties. What are the conversation? What are the challenges? And what are really these brands betting big on?
Well, I think each brands are different in their life cycles. I think influencer marketing or the creator economy predominantly started with D2C. Right. Because they couldn't afford mainstream media. Yeah. There they were looking at just creating reach. Yeah. What TV couldn't give, what they couldn't do with TV. Those guys have now moved to more engagement and more what we call as bottom funnel metrics, which is actually creating either a purchase decision or click through to their website or something more tangible. The larger organizations, the big MNCs and the big industries are now getting into influencer marketing. So now they are where the D2C brands were 3 years ago. So they're just focusing on reach and figuring out how do they deal with this new tool called creators, right? And they're in that phase. So I think each industry is different. I think startups have actually matured in the use of the creators. Right. And old industries just starting to use the creators. So I think there's a beautiful irony to this statement, right? Where leading marketeers are adapting to this media slightly late, and new marketeers are adapting it to it slightly early. And I think there's a sweet spot between the two, and that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing one community focusing completely on reach. I'm seeing one community focusing a lot more on meaningful engagement, and I think that's the real dichotomy of the situation, right, of the market right now.
Interesting. These big MNCs that were focusing on television earlier, or the traditional media as you call it, are now focusing on digital media. But speaking of traditional media, where does TV stand right now? The people used to talk, there was a lot of talk a few years back of how digital is likely to pip television. What is the ground situation right now? Where is the advertisers' money going towards?
I think it still has digital's market share increased. I think the answer is 100% yes. The EY report says that. But can you really replace 200 million households, which is where television reaches? The answer is no. I mean, the scale TV has, it's one of the main reasons why people say you have only 100 million odd paying OTT subscribers in a population of 1.4 billion. Right? That's under 10%. Yeah. So TV is not going anywhere, right? I think it'll take a lot to pip TV. If anything, I think TV has met its match, as a result of which there will be a distribution of the wallet share of the spends of media. Right. I never ever think it will be an either or. I think they'll live together. But yes, today if I look at the movie business, satellites, the last few years, people made movies out of digital streaming licensing deals and not really satellite deals of television. If you look at the media rights in the sports business, it's getting divided between television and digital, right? So I think there'll be a lot more optimization of allocation of budgets, because essentially both these mediums are driven by advertising and commerce. So I think you'll have that coming, but do I see it cannibalistic? The answer is 100% no.
Right. So you mean that if there is an advertising pie, then the share of digital has gone up. That is what has.
That's what's happened.
That is what.
And I think that'll come more, if I may dare say so, that'll come more at the cost of every other media. Yeah. Either it'll also come at the cost of print. It'll also come at the cost of outdoor and television. It won't be only one.
Right. So this whole chatter about YouTube versus Instagram, long format content versus short format content, where is the value, where is the money? I'm sure it's not as simple as that, but
I think it depends on the content, to be honest. If you are somebody who's making slightly more, if you're more invested in building long form content, then that's great. Like, let's look at one of our own pages, right? We run under 25. right? Under 25 has this beautiful page called Dictionary, right? Which is reimagining words like how the youth would do it,
Yeah.
right? That's not on YouTube, right? Because their mode of serving content is purely snackable, short form, and move. Do they monetize on that? The answer is 100% yes, right? I think YouTube, and I think they're two fundamentally different sports, right? It's like comparing football and cricket, or a 5-day test match with
versus
a 1-day.
IPL.
I don't think they're comparable. I think the only comparison is that they're both social as platforms, but I don't necessarily believe that where does the money lie? The way we see it, it's distributed fairly.
Right.
In the influencer business, it's not an either or. Of course, you have more density of creators in Instagram because it's easier to make content. So yes, you have more creators sitting on short format platforms versus a YouTube, which requires a lot more investment of time, energy. That's why I think YouTube creators are slightly more, what would I say? They're slightly more up pyramid because they've spent the kind of time in getting. I think it's easier to gain a subscriber, a follower on Instagram than have someone click on the bell icon. So I think YouTube is a lot more hardworking, therefore a lot more engaged. Instagram is a lot more easy. So I think Instagram is more your reach medium,
right,
and YouTube is more your
a loyal base,
more your engagement medium. That's
right.
Really
right. So what are the current trends right now? What are the current trends, and what do you think is the future of this creators economy?
I think the current trend is very clear. I think everyone wants a piece of it, and everyone will should have a
and
piece.
Wants to be a part of it.
I don't think you can not be a part of it.
Yeah.
I base it akin to the internet, right? How can you not want to be a part of the internet?
Right.
The creator economy is being built on the back of the internet. You're basically saying that with a smartphone and a little bit of your mind, you can become both famous and rich. That's essentially what you're saying. Everyone wants a piece of it, right?
Absolutely.
It's why you have so many businessmen turned creators. It's becoming.
Bill Gates is creating videos online. Why does he need to do that?
Look at what happened to that chai guy who he met with, right?
Absolutely.
He blew up overnight. So I feel the future is not even started. I feel we are still in level 1, like I said. So I think we're just setting up for an explosion in the next 10 years.
Okay.
And one of the key things, though, I do believe in, I think the future will move more from the creators to communities, right? And that's why for us, this under 25 play is so important because that's a community of students, right? You'll have mothers groups that will be doing well
online
together.
Groups.
You'll have, your trekking groups, your outdoor groups, your travel groups. So till today, you were only talking about, okay, is X and Y a creator? I think tomorrow brands are going to be like, how do we marry cohorts? Right. So I keep telling my team, I'm seeing this 3 years out, and I'm building more towards creators and communities as opposed to just creators, because I think, and again going back to my upbringing,
yes,
the army is a community, right? So if you want to reach out to the army, you're not reaching out to one lieutenant general or one colonel. You're going and you're reaching out to the army.
Very interesting.
Similarly, there'll be a group of moms, right? There could be 5 big creators, but they'll want the entire community. We are facing it in under 25 right now. We have 2 lakh students. You want the community of students to activate. You don't want a particular creator in that community. So I see that becoming a really, really big play. And that's what I am foretelling, for the lack of a better word. That's what I'm predicting. And that's where I think we'll move. Because in the creator economy, and the creator economy will spend a lot more time in skilling and educating people to become better at their content making.
Right. Finally, Vijay, what is your vision for your company, for Collective Artists Network? What is your vision?
Like I said, I think I want to build the largest ecosystem for pop culture based on talent. So if you look at the bets we're taking, we'll be announcing an acquisition next week. We want to build a new media business on the core of talent. So it could be, you'll see us launching our own private label brands. I just launched a fund 6 months ago with Nikhil Kamath and Gruhas. So you'll see us powering commerce. We just launched a production company with Dhruv Seth, who was the ex-CEO of OML, to build our own IP. We have India's largest student IP with the Under 25 Summit. We have one of the most loved creator IPs with something called as Creator Connect that we do under Big Bang Social. So for us, it's really about creating India's largest new media network with talent at the core. That's really the one line of it.
All right, huge plans there, Vijay, and all the best to you for that. And thank you so much for taking the time out.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure talking to you.
And well, with that, it's time for us to slip into a short break. You don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're tuned into ET Now Hangouts with me, Ankita Saxena, and it is that time of the show where we tell you what's trending. Well, one of the trends that even caught the Prime Minister's eye is esports. Well, the esports market in India is booming. In 2024 alone, the revenue in esports market is forecasted to reach 124 million US dollars. Well, this market is expected to experience a steady annual growth rate of 7.4%, resulting in a projected market volume of 166 million US dollars by 2028, according to Statista. Well, unless you're living under a rock, you would know that Prime Minister Narendra Modi recently met with the top Indian gamers to discuss the future of gaming industry. And today we are joined by two of the gamers who met the PM. Anshu Bisht and Mithilesh Patankar are joining us. Hi guys, welcome to ET Now Hangouts. It's so good to have you on the show. Well, tell us, what is the market for esports and what is the headroom for growth?
We are more on the content creation side of the gaming industry, actually, other than esports. It is our other colleagues that are actually esport players. But yes, the market is actually, I think, supposedly very big in terms of player base, in terms of competitive players out there. I think more than 12 lakh people are trying to more than 12 lakh gamers are trying to get into esports last year only. So the market is really big, and I think overall the gaming industry, the downloads, everything is the largest in the whole world, and I guess it comes second to most probably USA in terms of monetary.
Right, both of you belong to the content creation side of the esports. Well, tell us, what are the challenges? What are your challenges? What are the issues that you guys are facing? And also the issues and challenges of the gaming community at large.
I think like the esports community as well as the gaming community, especially in India, is just growing. Like it has just started, I think, since the last 2-3 years, and because it's so new, like not a lot of people take it very seriously in terms of like one problem we faced in start of our career is like brands used to not take us very seriously. Maybe like this is like maybe 3 years ago. Like they used to not understand, okay, what are gamers? And we used to really pitch karna padta tha ki, hey, gaming is big, gaming is going to become big, you need to work with this brand, like etc. So I think but as we are moving forward, even now, like when we have got like one of the biggest validations when the honorable Prime Minister has actually met us, and he has discussed about the gaming industry and all. So I think gaming is becoming super big in India, and the problems that we used to face have definitely reduced a lot.
Right. Speaking of brands, how has the viewpoint of brands towards you changed? Have you started getting better offers? You spoke about the money as well. How much on an average, does a gamer really make? And, especially the content creators versus the gamers, what exactly is the revenue?
I mean, like the money is really good. Like I don't know if I can tell you the figures and all, but the money is really good. But like for example, like I drive like a normal SUV car, and like some of my colleagues, like there's this one guy who's my friend whose name is Gamerfleet, and he drives like a Porsche. So like the money is good, and I think the point where you've been talking about how brands have been interacting and all, I think initially the problem we faced was they didn't understand what is gaming. And they didn't understand our demographics or anything. They didn't understand how many eyeballs we can give all of the to the brands, etc. And now it's like gaming has become so cool that a lot of brands want to work with us.
Right, during a meeting with the PM then, what are the points that you guys discussed? Were there any discussions about regulations in this particular space?
Yeah, so our friend 8-bit Thug, I guess he tried to like convince Prime Minister sir for a regulatory body for esports, but that was the thing. How Prime Minister sir he clearly said that I don't think so that everything should be how can I say this come under direct control of government. Something should be let free, and that was actually pretty eye opening, to be honest, how he said that government should work more for the people in need, who are in dire need of government, like who are actually dependent upon government for things like I think if I can recall that I come from a very, see, humble beginning. My father was a bus conductor. And when I started everything, I didn't knew that I can actually make good money in this and everything. So, uh, in that point of view, I think yes, we were actually dependent upon all the supplies that government gave, the control. I don't know how that's said, but in our local we say control, how government gives you rations, right? So I think the point he said that government should work more for the people in need, for the poor people, and by 2047, uh, Prime Minister sir said that he's thinking that government like middle class family की life से government निकल जाए and should focus more over the poor people of the country.
Right. Also, guys, did you teach the Prime Minister any gaming jargons, any lingo? There are a lot of viral videos on the internet. What did you teach him?
I mean, we
Yeah.
did like there are a lot of gaming terms that we use on a daily basis, and we are like, this will be so cool to teach to the Prime Minister of India. And some gaming terms like OP, which is called overpower, that is what we taught him. And there were some gaming terms which he already knew. For example, if you have seen the video, there's this thing which has also been going very viral on social media
Yeah.
right now, where we tried teaching him the word noob. And he already knew the meaning of the word noob. Noob means ki somebody who's not that good at gaming or something like that. And as soon as we said the word noob, he's like, essay. And
Nah.
that just showed that he already knew the meaning, which was very funny. So yeah, we tried teaching, but I think he already knew a lot of them.
Yeah, same. So what the lingo I tried to teach him was grind. So when I told him that sir, there's a word grind that you can actually use for like someone who is actually giving his all, he's working hard on a game, so he's trying to grind and get good at the game. So he already knew it. He said, so you mean tapna basically. So that was actually shocking that he knew all those lingos.
Finally, guys, any demands from the Prime Minister? You met the Prime Minister. Were there any asked from your community to the government for growing the ecosystem?
I don't think any specific demands, but like I think as Anshu also mentioned, the regulatory body. I don't know if I mean it's fine even if there's not no specific regulatory body to do this, but like more recognition to gaming will happen. Like of course because of this step, it has already started. But like imagine gaming, being very streamlined in our competitions, like Commonwealth Games or something like that. Like gaming is a part of it. So more such things which will give gaming more recognition and more respect is something that we can work towards.
All right, guys, wishing you all the luck. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today. And well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of ET Now Hangouts. I'll see you next week with some more interesting conversations, what's trending and what's hot for the weekend.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.